Hello and welcome everybody to another quick demonstration. In this scene we have a dam that's been broken because there was a fire in a village, and to turn off and kill the fire they had to destroy the dam and make the water flood the city or the village to make the water kill the fire. So I just recreated the scene, imported from Sketchfab the dam, and created the ocean flip tank and sim it with white water. I render it in both redshift and Arnold to practice the white water simulation. So we'll hop to the scene now. Wing Fox presenting comprehensive guide for filmmaking with Houdini and Unreal Engine 5. My friend, in this course you will have a look and learn about brief introduction about Houdini and Unreal Engine 5 package. You'll learn about the workflow, the log development of the scene, and the procedural building, how to do it, and how to modulate in Houdini. Then you have a complete breakdown of all of the asset and the scene. And you will know about the short film, how to analyze it, how to create it in Unreal Engine, and how to connect between Houdini and Unreal Engine and send the material and asset to Unreal Engine and have the render out there. So please go and check it out, and you'll have a discount coupon down in the description with the link. Thank you. So now we are in Houdini. First thing first, it's a GLTF model, and this is the geometry. نخلص. So let's take a view. So this is the dam model, and this is where they exploded to make the hole so the water can float to the village and turn off the fire, and the small house in here. So after that, because I have 2.5 or 4.9 million primitive or polygon, I wanted to decrease the size, but I kept this null for the render. So I added a poly reduce, and I went down to only 10%. So I'm just keeping about 500,000 polygon. After that I cache it so I can use it faster, and I added extrude volume because, as you can see, it's just a thin layer, so I want to have a volume and make it water seal. So now it is closed. And it has a bottom now. And in the extrude volume, I will have also to create a VDB from polygon. It can be the collision geometry for the ocean or the fluid simulation. So this is the VDB. On the other side, this is a grid. I did a boolean. So this is where the water surface will be. I placed the remaining, I kept only this one, and I make it out. So this is where the surface, if I need to use it. Now in this part we will go and create the guided ocean layer initial. So if you go to the ocean, here you have multiple choices. They are pre-built preset. The one we will use is the guided ocean layer. So we will click it and it will create for us the guided ocean layer initial, the DOB network for the ocean, and the output for the fluid, and the secondary fluid extended if you want to create an infinite ocean or big large ocean, and the interior. So let's dive in. And here, as you can see, we started by importing the merged object. This is the one. So this is the VDB. Here we have an ocean source, which is a wave tank. So it's at the 0.06 for now. That's why it's sort of dense. And this is the particles. If we go to this side, we can see the preview of the waves, of the ocean waves that will create a velocity to make the flip fluid move. So it's highlighted. And make it play. As you can see, you can control it from here, the exponential, how much dense, the speed of the wind, when you go to the wind and its direction, and how fast, and the bigger the wave, the faster the speed is. And this is a good quick preview, so you can see it in real time. And in the auto network, we will have our simulation, or the turn it off so it can work faster. Here I'll just make it bigger so we can preview it. So these are the particles, and as you can see, particle motion, I make it the vorticity to be on, so I can simulate the white water from it, and receding I keep it the default, and velocity smoothing I make it very low so I can have sharp particles. New volume, and we're using water line, so this is the water line. So any particle that will come here will be regenerated, anything above it will go out, it will not just rebound, so it will keep the surface as much as it can. Boundary layer the same. So it will make sure we have a space here so the water cannot spill out. And if it's spilled out from the top, it will not bounce again. I have the collision geometry, and I make it as a VDB from volume sample, and I pointed the VDB to it. Then I run the simulation, and here I cache it down here, but after I remove the unnecessarily or the bars that will not show up in the simulation. So this is how it looks as compressed file. In the compressed file we have a particle fluid surface that we can preview the particles or the surface. And this is a preview of the simulation. I uploaded to YouTube. In this version I make the wave very large, so I have a lot of splashes. I made another version that's being slow, so this one is big, as you can see. See the splashes and the particles. And this layer we will use it to create the white water from it, because it has the particle and it has the volume inside it also. The two elements that we need for the simulation added to the velocity also. So this is according to the speed. The white is very fast. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and also participate in my membership also. Thank you. Let's continue. So this is how it will look now. And what else I did? Here I have the particle surface to mesh the particles. Let's have a look. So as you can see, the surface, it will use the same particle separation of the flip simulation, and you can highlight the detail, the dilate and the erode. This is how it will look. These are the splashes. And here we applied the material. So now we will go and talk about the white water. So to create the white water, we need the flip fluid object that's in the Autodop network to be selected, or we can select it in the next step. Then we go to the ocean, and from ocean we have the white water here, the preset from the shelf tool. And when we press it, it will ask us for the flip fluid object. So we will select it and we'll press enter in the viewport, and it will create for us. So we'll have this white water source at the beginning, where we will set up our white water source. So here I'm importing from the white water, I'm importing from the flip fluid cache. Let's give it a second. Object. From here. I just want to link it to screen 1. So don't update this screen 1. So I cache it here, and I have a null that's being imported here. So this is the the flip fluid compressed cache. We added a white water source, and in the source here we will have the emission, and I make it between 2 to 6, so I have more emission. Curvature, I increase it from 5 to 20, and also we have acceleration. And in the flip fluid we activated the vorticity, so we can use it here, and we have a visualization. Let's take one of the frames. Here I deleted unnecessarily the particles that would not be seen by the camera. So let's have the cache here and have a look. So we have the acceleration, the vorticity, the emission. All these will be the sources for the white water to emit particles. Let's go back to the first frame, and here in the white water simulation, we have our Tiran object. We imported again, we copy and paste, and in the white water object we didn't do anything here. All the parameters in the white water solver. So here the scale 0.03, voxel size, this is wrong, 0.35, and here the emission, I increase the amount so I can have dense particles for the foam and the spray. Velocity offset 0.25, so I will have more particles in the spray or the splashes. I'll decrease the lifespan to 4, changing the seed, and add some velocity. And in the foam I enable the erosion, so we'll have the holes and the repellent. So the repellent, these points that will show up and push the foam and create like a circle, the one you see with the ocean foam, and added some seeds for it. After that I went out to the white import, and here I deleted the unnecessarily particles, and then I cache it. This is the cache. Better to view it with attribute triangle, to put the red for the spray, the green for the foam, and the blue for the bubble. So you can see it here. So this is one of the frames. This is the splash, the bubble under the surface of the water, and the foam. And these are the holes. Repellent. Then I deleted the unnecessarily points. And then I separated the particles. I took only the green one. These are the foam, by using a blast node, and I put add foam more than 0.2 to keep. As you can see here, we have the spray, we have the foam, we have the bubble attribute that we created from the white water solver. Okay, so this is the foam part that will be used to create a density volume that will render the foam. I added more delete to remove the unnecessary parts, and here is the default shelf tool set up for the density and the gradient and the rasterization, but you can do it also. So here in the set density, it will be created by default. This is the code, how fast it will fade, and where to create this density. So below the surface and at 0.5 of the surface. So so it will be barely visible. Then you will rasterize from attribute density. Because here you created the density according to the age and life of the particle and its density. Here I make it a little bit thick, increase the particle scale to 1.2, and I had the density as a stock hold. It will be accumulated like this. I change it to stochastic. After that I apply the material and I save it. The material is a volume material. So this is one of the frames. And this is the regulant, as you can see here. Let's go to the first frame. On the other side, here I was visualizing the particle according to the velocity. Here I took the particles, all of it, as a null, and I created a spray geometry, importing it, and I'm deleting all the forms at 0.65, so I'm left with the spray and the bubble and a little bit of the foam, which I render them as points. Now we'll go and talk about the render phase and lighting and material. So our scene is ready. First thing first, we created redshift light dome, and you can do the same thing for Arnold. It's not that much different. And here I applied a texture, and I created a directional light, and I make it a little bit warm by pressing on the color here on the choose color by temperature. Right click and you can choose the temperature, and I make it up to 10, and I make it a little bit soft also. Couple of cameras, and in the material, these are the Houdini material that's created by default. When you press the shelf tool, you can use them for karma. Here I have the material for the what you call it, the dam, the geometry. So let's go to the redshift render. And here I will choose let's say camera 1 and press render. Now it's loading the objects. Give it a second. So it starts to populate. So here I imported the texture, increased the gamma to 1.2. I added a color correction. So this is with, this is without, little bit increase the hue shift, and the level scale I decrease it. Apply it to the material, reflection I make it 0, otherwise it will be very reflective, even it's for water, but this is what I choose for artistic taste only. Now for the surface of the water, I use the preset of water, and I left everything as the default, and dispersion I kept it the default also, so you have some dispersion here. Then for the white water volume, I created a redshift volume. This is the density. Let's choose a frame with some density. Let's go to 120. So we'll render this frame. Render. Loading the object. And we start to see the white water and the spray also. So if I increase this one, we have more density. And absorption, I kept it as default and no emission. And for the spray, I use the water also. You can use the standard one also, because it's very tiny, and later on we will add motion blur for it. After that, this is the output. This is where I created the simulation caching. And this is for the raw fetch of the redshift render node. So in the redshift render node, the main I use here where you choose the cameras. So each one has its own camera. I make this one blue because I use it as a reference for the AUVs for the other. And we make sure non-blocking current frame is unchecked so it can render in sequence. Output, I make it as an EXR, and this is the AUV. AUV is here, sorry. This is the AUV for the ID. Beauty, volume, light, shadow, global illumination, specular and object ID, and the puzzle mate. These we will choose them from object, let's say spray. In redshift setting, render object ID, and also a cryptomate, you can add it also here. And post effect, this one you can play with a lot. You have different LUTs, and you can play with the bloom, the flare, color correction, exposure, and if you want to keep these to be added to the render, here you will choose color LUT control, activate, and HDR activate, and here also, so it will be saved. I went with low sample because it was taking too much time. I have old GPU, old computer, and I lowered down all the parameter and setting. Global illumination, I kept it. Motion blur, I will add it later. And caustic also I removed. So if you keep it, will look even nicer. this is some of the renders. Still we need to add the motion blur also. This will be in a nuke. We'll do it later on when it's completed. Thank you very much for watching. Please comment, share and like, and don't forget to subscribe in my Patreon link and also in my membership. And thank you very much.